Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you happen to be watching this. Hello, welcome to the replay. Let's have a conversation about your brand and why you need one. If this is your first time here, my name is Monique James. I am a master content strategist and founder of Renegade Creative Media Group. We help purpose driven business and brand owners achieve clarity. And I am here today to have a conversation with this beautiful woman in this beautiful pink top, Stacey Hagen, all about how you can build a brand while being yourself. And the tech trolls have been wreaking havoc and messing with us today because we were supposed to be live exclusively in my group, Relentless Entrepreneur Squad. And the tech just wouldn't cooperate. So we're live here on the public page. Just know that the replay is only going to be on this page for a limited time. I encourage you to join the group, Relentless Entrepreneur Squad. The broadcast will be there forever and ever and ever. Amen. So let's get into this conversation. I'm excited to be here with Stacey, one of my new internet friends. I don't know about you all, but I have been making a lot of internet friends since the pandemic has happened. Since we haven't been able to go outside, I've been using the technology to reach out and connect and to really build and foster relationships that have just been very enriching to me. And I hope that you are doing the same thing. This is the time for introverts to shine. Okay, if you are an introvert, this is your time to shine. You can still hide behind your computer and not leave your house and make connections with people. And I'm so excited to be talking to Stacey in front of you all and having this conversation because based on kind of the vibe and just the things that I have been experiencing with my peers and other business owners, it's very needed right now. So welcome, Stacey. Thank you so much for saying yes and for wanting to be here. Before we get into it, how are you doing this morning?
Good. I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, like you said, it is great to meet internet friends. And we met in another Facebook group, and you were kind enough to speak in my group. And I just love the synergy that can come from things like this. We can help each other out and yeah, be a resource for each other.
Exactly. And at times like these, I pulled a stat and talked about a stat yesterday about how in every state nationwide there are I think the stat is 24% less small business owners are open today than there were at the beginning of the year. 24%
Wow.
less. And in my state, it's 22%. So people are struggling, and trying to figure out what to do and how to navigate this situation and how to pivot their businesses and all of those things. Um, and that's why I think this conversation that we're going to have today is so on time and going to be so valuable because we are being forced as business owners to figure out how to do things differently, how to we have to adapt. And I know people keep saying when things get back to normal, but this might be our normal for a while,
Right. Totally.
so so we kind of have to make some plans and run with that, especially because we want our businesses to survive and to thrive, and we have to recognize that consumer interests and habits and things are changing for them. And if we want to continue to be in relationship with them, we have to change too. So for me, I recognize the value of the whole branding piece. But for the people that are watching, well, first, talk about the work that you do and why the people that are watching should listen to you. Because we let's just address the elephant in the room. Why should anybody listen to you,
Right.
Stacey Hagen, about this branding thing? Why should they care? And why are you the person that can help them do it?
I love it. Thank you for asking that, Monique. So I'm a business coach and a brand strategist, and I've had a career in branding, and I became a certified coach, and I decided I want to combine these two things and help women build their purpose-driven brands. And branding is so important because it helps set you apart. So chances are you're in some kind of crowded marketplace, right? You have some competitors out there and you're vying for a similar audience. We all are. So branding is the thing that can help you stand out and get known for something. Like like I tell the clients I work with, right? You have unique skills, strengths, and gifts and talents, and nobody knows about them unless you are putting yourself out there. And one way to put yourself out there is by having a cohesive brand. So it allows you to share yourself, your unique gifts, and it allows you to connect with your ideal clients. So there is basically no reason not to be doing it. And the other thing I like to tell people is whether or not you know it, you already have a brand. So if you're on social media, if you have a website, you already have a brand. So you might as well proactively manage it.
Oh
It's in
my
your best
gosh. I
interest.
love it. It's like the car is moving down the road anyway. We
Yes,
can choose to get in the driver's seat and steer it. I love
yes,
that. I
yes,
absolutely love that. We have to if we want to exist. And the thing is, normally a lot of times when people, and I get why people think this because that's the origin of the word, but when people hear branding, they usually just think about, oh, you mean like my flyers, right? You mean like
yes,
my business cards. But you're talking about something that's deeper than
yes.
the visible tangible thing. So talk a little bit about those pieces, those intangible pieces that make up a brand.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up because I think people do when they hear brand, they think logo or fonts and colors, or they think about having this like pretty perfect Instagram grid. And that is the visual component of a brand, yes. But there is this whole, it's kind of like the iceberg, right? The iceberg that you see is the visual component, but your brand is all the stuff underneath it. So it's actually your values, your vision, your mission, your strengths, and the way you interact with your clients, like your customer service, all these things fit into what is your brand. And then the logo, the fonts, the colors, they just work to illustrate that. So that's why it's so important to get clear on what your brand foundation is before you even go to get a logo designed or fonts or colors, because you need to know that. It's going to inform that strategy.
I'm just like I'm ready to jump out of this chair because you are just it's just it speaks to how as business owners, as entrepreneurs, we get really caught up, we get really emotional and we get really caught up on, oh, I need a logo. Oh, I need
Yes,
business cards. Oh, I need a website. But wait a minute. What are you going to put on the website? What are you going to put on the business cards
yes,
if you aren't clear on
yes.
what the business stands for? And I love that you brought up the values piece because I just did a training some weeks ago about the whole values and why that matters and the
Mhm.
mission. And you are talking about the complete 360-degree experience with the business, not
Yes,
just the product, not just the thing you sell, but
right.
the whole experience around that.
Right, and it is the experience because you can have the prettiest Instagram grid in the world, but if you're not, if you're not attracting the right clients and you're not serving your clients well,
Mhm.
you are not gonna have a good brand reputation, right? It doesn't matter. Those are important visually, but you need to have the substance there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. So good. So Margaret just put up a comment that feeds right into my next question because so what you're talking about is, encouraging your clients, business owners that want to do this to leverage the things that make them unique,
Yes.
which sounds like, oh, that means, putting yourself out there and being
Yes.
on live and doing all of those things. And Margaret raises a great comment. So what about the people that say that they're introverts? How can they do this?
Thank you, Margaret, for saying that. I am an introvert. I actually coach mainly introverts at this point. And I would say it's obviously still important for you to know all those things. And the really cool thing is when you can get very clear on what your vision is and what is the value that you provide to your clients, you will feel compelled to share it, right? You're not so worried about, oh, how am I going to look? What if I sound stupid? You know that your message is important and that your work is important. And when you have that, it's like this inner sense of confidence, and knowing that what you do is important, the purpose driven part. When you have
Mhm.
that, it becomes much easier to put yourself out there. And the second part I will say is like, even though, people know that you need to go live, you need to be on Instagram, you don't need to do that 24/7. So it is really up to you how it fits into your strategy, because going live is not the only strategy to get clients. There are many ways to put yourself out there. If you like to write, you can guest post. You don't even have to be live on anything, right? There are so many ways to put yourself out there. So don't get hung up on, well, I hate going live, right? There are just so many ways to go about it.
Yeah, yeah. Margaret says, I still get nervous every time I go live. Me
Yeah,
too.
me too. Me
That's
too.
it's
And yeah, I
yes.
will
I
say
feel like
that
if you're not getting go ahead, Stacey.
I was gonna say, I really avoided going live for the longest time. Like, I was hearing like, oh, it's so important that you go live on Facebook. You need to go live in your group, and I was so resistant. And finally, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And I put it on my calendar, and I just once I put it on my calendar, I basically have to do it. So if it was Tuesday and I didn't know what I was saying, I would have to think about, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I would make myself go live. If I didn't feel like it, if my hair looked bad, whatever, I still went live because I made that
Yeah,
commitment. And the thing is, the more you show up, the easier it gets. But I still get a little nervous too, but it doesn't stop me from doing it.
exactly. I kind of
Yep.
feel like if there's ever a day, and I've been doing live streaming since 2015.
Ooh,
If
good for
there's
you.
ever if there's ever a day that I don't feel a little flutter, like I've officially jumped the shark. Like I should just stop doing this because the nerves to me, and I don't even call it nerves. I call it excitement. I feel like your brain doesn't know you get to attach the word to those feelings. And
Yeah.
for me, I choose not to call it nervous. I choose to call it excitement because it feels the same in my body. Your heart
Yeah.
races a little bit. Maybe your stomach starts to hurt. You start to get a little tickle in the back of your throat. It feels the same. I just choose to identify it in a positive way and still
Yeah.
knowing full well, like you said, Stacey, I'm still going to hold myself accountable. I'm still going to do it.
Right.
And that's the thing that kind of helps me just keep going. And also something else that you touched on that I definitely want to call out, especially for the business owners that really feel, they do all the work to create the product or to invest in the inventory or to whatever. And then when it's time to sell it, you're afraid
Mhm.
or you're apprehensive. I love that you use the word confidence. Well, for one, in my other business, I'm a confidence coach, so that
Yeah.
definitely speaks to me. But that's where it comes from. When you are so sure that what you have to offer is going to help people, then it's you don't make it about you. You don't
Yes.
make it about, oh well, like you said, my hair doesn't look good today, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell people about this thing that's going to change their lives because my hair is not right. you know, you make it up. The goal is to facilitate the transformation in somebody else. So when you can do that in with the level of confidence, almost that compels you
Yes.
to show up. It compels you to be present and to offer the thing because you know how it's going to help change people's lives. And again, when you've done that work, that inner work and that
Mhm.
brand work, when you've gotten clear, oh, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, these are the people that I want to work with, and I know that they are out there waiting for me to show up. That's the thing that gets you up every day and to show up and do the thing that you know you have to do. So I love that. I love that you talked about it in that way because that's really what it is. When you've invested, think about somebody that I like to use analogies to describe stuff. So if your business is a house, right, and you have scouted out the location and you found the architect that's worked with you and partnered with you to draw up the plans, and then you hire your construction firm and they've built it exactly to your specifications. When you have your housewarming, when we're not in a pandemic, and you invited people over, you can walk around and show them every nook and cranny of that house because you
Yes.
know that it is exactly what you wanted. You know that the foundation is firm. You know that it's right.
Yeah.
That house is your business. When
Yeah.
you've done the work, when you've built the foundation, you are not afraid to say, oh yeah, come on in. Yeah, this is my office and this is the third bathroom. Upstairs are the seventh and the eighth bathrooms. Like you can
Right.
you can take people all over the place because like there are no skeletons in the closet. There's you know it intimately. And because you know it intimately, you're not afraid to show up and talk about it. And I just love that. I absolutely just love that.
Yeah, and adding on to what you said, I love that analogy. That's a perfect analogy because you've built a strong foundation, and so you have that inner confidence that comes from that. And the other
Yes.
thing that you said that was so important is it's about being of service. So your
Mm-hmm.
business isn't it is about you and the fact that it's your business, but it's about your clients and it's about the people that you're serving because obviously if you don't have them, you don't have a business. Right? So it's very important to remember that. And when you're sharing, it's like, how can I be of service to my audience? How can I
Yeah.
help someone today? And that is a totally different way of looking at it versus, getting caught up in your head wondering, what do I look like? What if I sound stupid? It's how can I be of service to even one person?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So you talk in your work, you talked about how you work with coaches and creatives. So
Mhm.
what would you say to somebody that might be watching this and they're like, well, I'm not a coach and I'm not a creative. I sell watch batteries or
Yeah.
something, you know? And they're thinking, okay, but I mean, all of that sounds very woo woo, but why care about building my brand if I'm not a coach or I don't identify as somebody that's a
Yeah.
creative?
I mean,
How would this apply to me?
yeah, I mean, I think 100% of all businesses need to think about their brands. And I work with coaches and creatives because I am in that world and that's
Hmm.
the world I'm closest to. But in my career, I helped all kinds of businesses build their brands. But, especially if you sell watch batteries, you definitely need a brand, right? People can get watch batteries in a variety of places. So why are they going to buy from you? And here's the thing, a customer is always going to ask, why should I buy from you? So, no matter what your business is, you need to be able to answer that question. And the answer to that question is what makes you different and what makes you unique and what sets you apart. And that is like 100% of your brand. And you need to know how to articulate it. And that's the other thing. Like, it's just great to have this brand foundation, but you need to know how to articulate it and communicate it to your audience for it to be effective.
Yes. I love that was just we didn't plan this, you all. Like that was the
No.
perfect answer. Because in my mind, thinking as a strategist, I think, oh, having a firm brand, that's strategy. That's competitive strategy. It allows you to say, oh yeah, sure. You could buy your watch batteries at Acme Watch Batteries Incorporated across the street. But here, because we believe in family and community values, we
Mhm.
offer this in addition, or we treat our customers this way, or we do this, or we're a family owned and operated for 1,000 years. Like all of these different things that we can talk about again around the product. I think and especially now in this time where people are really desperate, really desperate to keep customers coming in and to keep making sales to be able to pay their bills. So that desperation can sometimes make us do things that we wouldn't do under normal circumstances. And I think
Mhm.
right now where everybody, the businesses are like, oh my gosh, I just need to make sales. There's a disconnect between how we're showing up out of that desperation, rightfully so. It's totally justified, given the circumstances that we're in, but we're missing our customer because they're not, our emergency needing to make sales doesn't speak to them. That doesn't resonate with them. So instead, and I talk about this, say this in my group a lot, we have to be more sophisticated
Mhm.
about how we talk about our products. And that takes practice, that takes work for one, the whole branding, everything that we're talking about, and digging deep on those things. And also, you said, know how to say it. Like
Right.
that part, we forget,
Know
we
how to say
forget,
it.
oh, I have to rehearse saying these things so that when the time comes, I'm not fumbling over my words and creating creating a vibe that is the opposite of confidence. Instead of sowing confidence, you're sowing doubt, because it sounds like you're speaking about your own products for the first time.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, I feel so many people start businesses and they think if I build it, they will come. Well, you actually do have to put yourself out there. And so you want to bring through that inner sense of confidence and the right words that help you communicate it. And I love that you brought up values, because I feel like this is a time when values are so important and people are making purchasing decisions based on values. So it really is in your best interest as a business owner to express those values.
Yeah.
And along those same lines, I'm not sure who said this quote, but people make emotional decisions and they justify them by logic. So most purchasing decisions are made emotionally. And then you can ask the person, well, why did you buy that? And they're going to give you a list of reasons, but it was likely an emotional decision for them.
Mm-hmm.
And what goes into emotion, right? It's the values, it's the feeling you get from someone, it's their energy. And
Yeah.
those are the things that are so important.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. When you talked to you, when you said that quote, I'm gonna have to look that up to see who said
Yeah.
that. But
I need to look it up.
immediately, what came to mind was the ASPCA commercials with
Yes.
Sarah McLachlan singing the song. Like that is what it is.
Oh,
That
I
that
feel. Yeah.
is purely an emotion. It's designed to pull out the emotions out of people. And then I would be willing to bet you ask some of those people, well, why did you donate? Well, I believe in I don't believe in animal cruelty, blah blah blah, not even recognizing
Yeah.
that the tug was at their heartstrings, the tug
Yes.
was at their emotions, and seeing the puppies looking sad and all of these, like that's 100% what that is. And again, we can't craft those very creative. I talk about that commercial all the time because it's so indelible on in my
Yeah.
mind. And I think about the process to get to that. So what was the conversation when they sat down for the first strategy planning meeting, about, so we designed Sarah and she's going to sing us a song, but we need to match the visuals to the song. What was
Yes.
the conversation that got them to that? I'm sure they took in all of the makeup of the brand of ASPCA and then thought about that emotional appeal to
Mhm.
connect with people that would resonate and want and open their wallets, because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, that's what it's about.
Totally. I mean, and they could have just had a talking head from the ASPCA on a commercial saying, look, we need help. We have X amount of animals in shelters that we need to help.
Yes.
But that's using logic, right? But it's not going to get the same effect. So, yeah.
So good. So,
Yeah.
so good. All right. So I know you have a freebie that you offer for people that they can use to kind of start that
Yeah.
process. Before we tell people where they could get it, talk a little bit about what's what is the we've already talked about what the value is of
Mhm.
doing this and how it adds to money in a business
Yes.
owner's bank account. So what would you say to somebody that maybe is somewhat already convinced, but they might still be on the fence because they're like, I don't have time. Like, I don't have time to think
Mhm.
about what my values are and write them
Right.
down. I'm
Right.
so busy. I've got all of these things going on. So what would you say to that person to kind of get them over the hump to recognizing that this is worth going through for their business?
That's a great question. And that's something I hear a lot from new business owners. Oh, well, I'm not going to work on that yet. I just want to, I want to work in my business for a few months and then worry about my brand. But the thing is, your brand can be that client attraction magnet, because if you do all this foundational work, every place you show up, you're going to have a clear message. You're going to have a consistent look and feel. Your customers will know what to expect from you. And that attracts your clients are more likely to convert on your website and on your social media accounts from a Facebook Live when you have all that foundational materials together. So I believe that the best time to start is at the beginning, because you build that foundation and then you just can keep adding to it.
Yeah.
And will definitely impact your bottom line 100%.
Yeah. So it's, again, nobody wants to build a house knowing that they have cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to come back to bite you sooner or
Oh,
later.
yeah, big
You're
time.
going to have to address it
Yeah, and
eventually.
the thing is, I also hear from people, "Oh, building my brand, I mean, it is building your brand is kind of, it's something that happens through the life of your business, but you can set your brand foundations and then be done with it. So it's not something that has to take 6 months. And likely, this is what I find with clients, they already know so much of this already. It's a matter of pulling it out. So they probably already know their values, their mission, they might even know their pitch. So it's a matter of putting it together in a way that best lets the real them shine through. And that doesn't take forever. I mean, that can take a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. So
Yeah.
good. Oh, wow. Margaret said, great comment, Margaret. I had 16,000 views yesterday on my live, but no comments or interaction.
Mhm.
So that's not off topic, but a bit of a tangent that I want to, because I want to address that, Margaret.
Yeah.
So what, something that I've learned over the years, and live streaming really kind of helped me recognize and accept this, that some people are just okay being in the room with you. You know, whether you're over there and they're over here, they're okay being in the room. Other people want to be in your vicinity. They want to be in your universe, maybe not talking directly to you, but they kind of just like, okay, well, yeah, I was like 10 feet away from Oprah, like there, and that's enough. But then there are the others, and these are the ones that this is where your sales are going to come in. There are others that want to be in direct conversation with you. It's like the difference between audience, community, tribe. So like
Mm.
audience are the people that they're comfortable being in the room. Community are the ones that might want to be involved in a peripheral conversation. And then tribe are the ones that want to talk to you. And I think as we kind of move through, especially this process right now that we're in, we have to recognize that consumers are trying to figure it out too, just like we are. We as the business owners are trying to figure it out. We get up every day ready for the new adventure. They're doing the same thing. So whereas, maybe last year we didn't have to work so hard, or we didn't have to do certain things, or we didn't have to do 12 lives, we only had to do 3 in order to get sales. We have to adjust because they've changed, so we have to adjust to their changes. Exactly, Margaret. Another way that I've described it when it comes to your content are streakers, strollers, and studiers. Some people
Mm.
are okay just driving by your house. Some might stroll by and look in your front window, and others are going to knock on the door. So yeah, and again, the brand piece, to tie back into what we're talking about here with Stacey, the branding piece, I think attracts everybody. That's the good thing about it. You know that the people that tuned in, they were interested in the content and also interested in you. The goal now is to filter, the interested or the looky loos from the ones that actually want to buy.
Yeah, I mean, and the first thing I noticed in that comment was 16,000 views, which is
Yes.
amazing. So,
Yes.
congratulate yourself on something is working, the fact that you had that many views. And you're right, branding and putting yourself out there, like a lot of it is just awareness. So,
Mm-hmm.
those 16,000 people are becoming more aware of you. They're getting
Yes.
to hopefully know, like, and trust you. And then the other thing I would add is, did you give them a call to action at the end of your live? Did you ask them
That's what I
to
was
do
going to say.
something? Because
Deliberately
that
offer.
way, yeah, I mean, whether it's to DM you or leave a comment or whatever it is, it's always good to ask them to take an action.
Yeah.
And then those
Yeah.
few who do want to get closer to you and be part of the tribe are likely to take that action.
Yes. And again, knowing how to say it and knowing what to say, and making sure that it's in alignment with our brand, that's our work to do. It's
Yes.
our work to do. So this has been so good, such a rich conversation, Stacey. So tell the people before we leave what your freebie is, because we want to make sure those of you that want to take action, that
Yes.
you have the tools to help you do that. So tell them what you have for the folks and where they can get it.
Yeah. So my freebie is an elevator pitch template. And that is because most people struggle with introducing themselves or pitching themselves. So this is an easy way to think about those key components of your elevator pitch and put it together. I give you framework to put it together. So it's still in your words, but it's using a specific framework that works.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my freebie. And I can put a link in the comments too, but you can find it at my website, which is createcoachingconsulting.com. And you'll see it on the home.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, and we'll put it. I'll update the caption to this broadcast so it'll be there. So everybody that wants it, you can get it. And you're right. That too. That's the part of that's the like toward the tail end of the branding. You've done that work and figured out what makes you unique, and you know what works for you and the way to say it. And
Yeah.
you build the elevator pitch, and then you have something to say every time, just like I do
Yeah.
with these live broadcasts. Every time I say the same thing, every time. That's what that is. And
Yeah.
that's the next piece. Once you're clear on it and you know how to say it, you reinforce it every opportunity you get.
Yes.
That's
You
just
reinforce it and usually you tweak it and improve it over time. Even if you start out with an elevator pitch that you're like 90% confident about, as you say it and use it, you will tweak it and refine it. So
yes. Yes. So good. So good, Stacey. Thank you so much for these takeaways, these awesome gems. If
of course.
you are watching this on the replay and you have questions, don't keep them to yourself. Drop them in the comments. With the live, like I said, the broadcast is going to live forever in the group, Relentless Entrepreneur Squad. Stacey is a member of the group. So if you're watching this in the group, you can tag her in the comments, get your questions answered. If you're watching this on any of my other platforms, I encourage you to join us in the Relentless Entrepreneur Squad. Again, audience, community, tribe. We want you to be a part of the tribe. So come on in and be a part of the tribe. Thank you again so much, Stacey. Thank you, every single one of you, for watching, for tuning in, for sharing. If you know of somebody in business that needs to be a part of this conversation, needs to hear um, this conversation, tag them, share this with them, and spread the wealth. Like I said, right now, the small business community, just like everybody else, really is um, operating on a shaky foundation, and we want to do everything we can to shore that up and to firm that up so that we can continue to do what it is that we do, and support our families and support the people that we're supposed to support. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Stacey, for being here. I'm Monique James. I say this at the end of every one of my broadcasts: baby steps to greatness. You see the hashtag in the caption. The hashtag represents a decision that you have to make for yourself, that every day that you get up, you are going to do one thing: disciplined, intentional, and actionable step, a baby step. It doesn't have to be anything big, but it's something. And if you rack up those somethings, if you do something every single day, you will start to see your business evolve and change and improve and grow, which is ultimately what we want. So Rome wasn't built in a day, and you're not going to build your 6, 7, or 8-figure business in a day, but you got to do a little bit of work every day and commit to that. So I encourage you to take a step today. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Check out Stacey, get the elevator pitch template, and start practicing. Like, practice in the mirror. Nobody's going to know. It's not going to be weird. You're doing this work for your business, and get it done. All right. I will catch you all in my next broadcast. Bye.
Thanks, Monique. Bye.